Today, my special guest is Julia Verdin from California. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Ching. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I understand, right? You are in Los Angeles. I am in New York.
I am indeed, and it's finally stopped raining here, and we've actually got sun again.
That's wonderful. Actually, right now it's raining outside in New York. So, tell us a little bit about you are going to be in New York in a week, and what brings you to the Big Apple?
Well, I'm very excited because the film Maya, that I wrote, directed, and produced, and actually also happened to appear in a little cameo in, will be shown at the Socially Relevant Film Festival. Our screening will be at 2:45 on Saturday, the 16th of March at the Cinema Village. And we will be having a little party after and really looking forward to screening there as Nora Armani always has a lovely festival with great selection of films, and it's Women's History Month, so it's a good time to really be there and celebrating with the other women filmmakers at the festival on all that we've all accomplished.
Yeah, congratulations for being selected as by the socially relevant film festival, and I know Cinema Village. You probably know too. It's a really nice boutique artistic film theater, right? And it's a very nice location near, I would say, near the Union Square, and there's a lot of also food restaurant around. And Nora is very capable. Not only she's a director, she's a founder, and she knows how to party. So we're definitely going to have some nice food and food restaurant. So tell me a little bit about your Maya. And I watched maybe two-thirds of it, and I was very taken by the film. Not only the story is so interesting, it goes up and down, there's a lot of conflict in it, and uh, great writing, great camera work. Yeah. So tell us a little bit how this idea was born to write the work.
Well, this screenplay was actually inspired because I used to volunteer at a children's shelter for runaway youth, and I many of those children had been trafficked and been rescued from very, very bad situations, and their stories were really heartbreaking. And in really digging deep and finding out kind of why this was happening, because I was fairly shocked to find out that this was going on in America, and it wasn't just one child's story I heard, but it was, I met like at least 12 to 15-year-old young girls who'd all been trafficked. And there was also a young boy there too who'd been through some pretty gnarly experiences. And it really shocked me. And the thought of the abuse these poor, innocent young people had been through really just like broke my heart, and it became something I couldn't look away from. So I started doing research, and I realized how prevalent this was in LA. And so actually I made my first feature, Angie, Lost Girls, on the topic, and that was a big success. We won a lot of awards. We had a lot of organizations use that as an outreach tool. It was used for government training, and it was used for education. We did a lot of community screenings with it. And so then all the people working in the field all said, Julia, this is fantastic. But then after the pandemic, you have to do another one, because what's happening now since the pandemic, we've seen a real rise or with social media predators who are targeting youth online, not just on the streets anymore, as we showed in Angie Lost Girls, but in the safety of their own homes through social media, through gaming apps, and through other kind of like computer sites. And we have to make parents and teenagers aware of this in an effort to prevent this from happening to them. So I did a little bit more research on it, and I brought on one of the former trafficking detectives as a consultant to get accuracy. I went down to the task force in LA. I met a bunch of the other detectives currently working, fighting trafficking cases and rescuing teenagers from trafficking situations and setting up traps for the traffickers to learn more about it. I also brought on a survivor consultant. I spoke to a lot of different NGOs and people working in the field as to what the problem looked like for them. And so I came up with the story for Maya. And I found that the problem tended, to happen most in single parent families. So the lead character in my film is a single mother, and she is doing what happens a lot these days, trying to juggle 2 jobs and working really hard because she wants to give her child the best. She loves her daughter and wants to give her a good education. She wants to be able to pay for art classes and things that her daughter loves. But as a result, she's not home a lot. And as often happens with teens that have been trafficked, there's also been a correlation with domestic abuse going on in the home. So then I came up with a character of the abusive boyfriend. As the mother's been left by her husband, she's been struggling with feelings of being unwanted, low self-esteem. And so she falls into what we could say inappropriate relationship, but with a guy who's very cleverly manipulating her.
Very abusive as well, right?
Yeah, it is terrible. I've spoken to a lot of survivors of abuse relationships, and a lot of them told me it was this kind of push and pull with the guy, like showering them with love and affection. And then, if they wouldn't do something that the guy wanted them to do, like wouldn't give them the hard-earned earnings or pay for something or do something that he wanted them to do, that he would then get very violent and abusive as a means of control. And so I wanted to incorporate that into the screenplay because I think it's important, for women to recognize when that abuse situation is happening to them, and sometimes I think by seeing a film, it can kind of like click in your mind if you happen to be in that situation. This seems awfully familiar.
Shall we shall we see the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see. Hopefully it's audio-wise, it's good. All right, so I am going to do a setting. Okay. Here is the trailer of Maya. Maya is the name of the teenager.
I think I have a date.
How's everything going with your mom?
Her boyfriend is just beating on her.
Is he you too?
Get out of my way!
I'll be there in 5 minutes. You have me to take care of you from now on. You understand? Is there any reason she would run away?
Just please help me find Maya.
I got a new girl here. I'm still bringing her in. What are you gonna do? Go back to your mother?
I never leave you! No. He loves me. And he's gonna come find me. I know that. He's gonna really need you to be strong. I'll do anything. Whatever it takes.
Quiet! Stop!
I don't want to do this. this anymore.
What did you say?
Just go, please. Don't lose it.
I'll call back up and SWAT on the way.
Mom, no, please.
Oh, yo, she put us into this video. Yeah.
Thank you. That was beautiful. It's so well cut and just capture all the essence of the story in a very, very, concise way. And so, how did you find all these character? I mean, the actors. Did you look for themselves, or you already know their works? What's the process of casting?
So with Patricia Valesquez, who plays the lead in the film, I'd known of her work for a long time. And so I reached out to her, and she read the script and she loved it. And then it was immediate, yes. You may remember Patricia Valesquez. She played the lead role in The Mummy, and she's been in many other films and won a lot of awards. And she really did a wonderful job with playing Camilla, the mother. And you really feel for her and feel for the pain that, of this woman who's kind of trapped in her own abusive situation, but loves her daughter. And the film at the core is really a mother-daughter story, because Patricia's character, Camilla, has to break through her own cycle of abuse to be able to help her daughter. And as you see at the end, there's a lot of action in it, and that all happens. But then to find Maya, that was a tough role to cast, because I needed to find somebody who was over 18, but could play 15, 16. And I didn't want to cast an actual 15-year-old, because it's playing someone who's being trafficked. It's a tough role to do emotionally, because you've got to put
traumatizing, right? Traumatizing.
Yeah, exactly, Chin. So I wanted to be very sensitive to that. So I wanted to cast somebody who was over 18 and would be able to handle that. And there's no nudity or anything over gratuitous in the film, so it wasn't a question of that, but it was the emotional toil that embarking into a dark world like that and exploring the emotions of a character who's pushed into those situations, which you have to do, and you're playing that type of role, needed somebody with the strength to be able to handle it. And I really needed somebody with a very big emotional range to do that. So I interviewed a lot of actors, and it was hard finding the right person. And we got right down to the wire, and I did a call back, and there was one girl who was very good, but I just didn't feel like she was my Maya. And so I said, everyone was going, come on, we've got to cast this. Just lock her in. She's good. And I'm like, I just want to look back at the dates of the other people that we wanted for callbacks that couldn't come in, or just see if there's anyone else out there that we're missing. And then I found this one tape from this girl who wasn't available that we'd liked initially to come for the callback. So I called her manager and I said, what happened? Why is she not available? And it turned out she was only not available for 2 days of our shoot. So I said, listen, let's have her in for a callback, and if we like her, we'll find a way to deal with it. So she came in and she just blew me away. I always asked, try things different ways with an actor to just check that they can take direction when I do callbacks. And I like to do a little improvisation too. And she just nailed it. And it was funny because Patricia Valesquez came in right when, we were doing the final scene. And so she came in very quietly and was sitting on the stairs. And when the scene finished, she came out of hiding, and we just both looked at each other, and we knew we'd found our Maya. And Isabella was amazing. I mean, it turned out the 2 days were, she couldn't make it with her graduation. So we filmed, she went off, she graduated, she came back, we finished filming, we had a little celebration on set for her. And she really did a phenomenal job with Maya. And then we also
The audio was very good. But do you have like a, when you film them, do you lab them, or you had a boom to record all their actions? I also hear the audio is like a sound effect. And yeah, the audio is so good.
Oh yeah, well we had a professional sound mixer with us on set. You know, we had like a very good crew. I had a great DP, Akesh Raj, who was Akesh did, and I did a lot of like pre-production planning for the film with how we were going to shoot it, the type of lenses we were going to use, the color scheme of the film. You know, you may notice that and the production design, the start of the film, everything is kind of in Maya's world is quite chaotic. The apartment is very messy, but it's still, there's a kind of like a warmth there. And then when she's trafficked, the color scheme to the film becomes more kind of colder and bluer when she goes into Ray, the trafficker's world.
Mm.
And then when she when she's rescued, the world then becomes warmer again. And this time the apartment, because the mother is also healed too, that's reflected in the production design. So the apartment is now very clean and tidy and ordered, showing the mother's state of mind is now, she's now in recovery and in a different space. And then, of course, the trafficker comes and tries to get Maya to go back. And I won't give away what happens there, because that's the end of the movie.
No spoiler. And now, since I'm a filmmaker, one big issue run into us, and not only sound is so important. And as a producer, do you care to talk about a little bit, how do you produce, how do you get the money? Like, who's your backer? Like, this is like a kind of lot of budget film.
Yes, well, for this budget, you know, I raised the funding for Artists for Change with the production company for the film. We had like a lot of different donors. We got a grant from the California Arts Council. I taught some Kundalini yoga classes to raise funding for the film. We had events, and the film was funded through the generosity and passionate support of a lot of different people. You know, I put resources into the film myself. I had a lot of old friends, family that supported this, and we had a very passionate team of committed individuals that made this possible. So making a film happen never happens through one person. It takes a village to come together and make these independent films happen.
How did the whole thing happen? You, as a writer and director and in the film industry, were you, when like early life of yours, were you already so artistic and creative?
Well, I've been in the film business for a long time, so I've produced, I think it's I've produced about 42 films, ranging from Merchant of Venice with Al Pacino to action thrillers like Blast with Eddie Griffin and Vivica Fox and Vinnie Jones, and The Contaminated Man with William Hurt and Peter Weller and Natasha McElhone. I've made art house movies like Two Jacks with Sienna Miller and Danny Houston. And then I moved into directing and writing. And when I went into directing and writing, I had to think to myself, right, I've got a really good track as a filmmaker. I've made a lot of movies. Now, I'm getting to kind of what I call stage 2 of my career. What do I want my legacy to be? What do I want to leave behind? How can I be of service through film to the world? And I really wanted to make films that could make a difference. So before I jumped into directing, I went back and I did an MA in film with a focus on directing, so I could really study the craft, even though I'd gained a lot of knowledge as a producer, through working very closely with directors and been right behind their shoulder, checking on coverage. I really wanted to put my all into directing and just do everything as I could to equip myself to make good content. And I'm a great believer that education is everything. I think you can never stop learning. Every opportunity, if I get any opportunity to learn more, I'm ears, eyes, mind open. I read a lot. I'm always reading up on other filmmakers. I talk to other filmmakers about how they do things. I love analyzing others' films as to what works and what didn't. And, because I can learn from it for myself. And I've really learned that to make a good film, you have to make something that's authentic. You have to do a lot of research. So that's why I always put a lot of focus on really researching the world that I'm making a film about and talking to. So, for example, on Maya, talking to survivors, talking to detectives, talking to NGOs to really be able to create authentic characters.
Beautiful. Now,
and then finding good people too. Chin, you mentioned the importance of sound. But like music too is very important for films. So we had Michelangelo Sosnowitz was my composer, and he did the score for Angie Lost Girls as well. He's a wonderful composer because sound can totally change a film.
Yeah.
So if you have the wrong sound, it can ruin it. If you have great sound, it can really help elevate all those emotional moments. We also did a sound, professional sound mix at a studio called Private Island Audio. So, you mix all the music and the effects and the Foley and everything in together. And that process of just getting all of that done usually takes about a month. And then, the filmmaker, in this instance, me, and I had Laura, who works with me in there with me too. She was an associate producer on the project, and we sat in that sound studio and kept a check on whether the music was too loud at any moment, too soft, getting everything to the right level with the mixer for the final mix.
When you make a film, do you think about the deadlines, or do you think about this festival is going to accept the film at this deadline? Do you think about these things, or you just do it until you're satisfied?
I wait until the film is 100% finished before I send it out to people. I think you're not really putting your best foot forward when you show work before it's 100% finished. So it's better to put the time focused on getting it finished quickly, but at the same time in the making sure everything is right and perfect. And it's time consuming. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've seen this film. I can't tell you the number of times Laura, who you just met, who works with me, and Jason, who is one of the producers on the film, have seen this film through the various edits and cuts and color timing and sound mix and all the various steps, because every time you get a final version, you have to sit through and check it and make sure that there are no mistakes.
So right now is how long the film?
It's 104 minutes.
104 minutes. Oh, that's pretty civilized.
Yeah, no, I think it's one good thing is nobody has watched Maya and felt that it's too long.
Yeah,
It's very suspenseful, so it's one of those films
yeah,
that really keeps you
yeah.
engaged all the way through.
So you're just 1 hour 41 minutes. When you first assemble first, I guess this is your narrative, so you have more in control. Or when I made my film, which is a documentary, the first cut was 6 hours. So and then just trim and trim and trim. So do you run into a problem that the first version is kind of long?
The first version is always long because when you're editing a film, the first thing you do is your editor puts together what's called an assembly or a string out cut, and so that's every scene in the film that was shot, right, in kind of narrative chronology, as it were. And then you sit down and watch, and you know what, we actually don't really need that scene. Let's ditch it. Or that scene's good, but it's not really driving the story forward. That can go. And this scene feels a little bit long. Let's top and tail it, right? Cut off the beginning and cut off and make the end a little shorter, get to the end quicker, or cut out some of the sloth, as it were, in the middle of a scene that's not really driving it forward. So the editing process usually takes, it normally takes about 3 months to edit films. Sometimes it can take longer, because you normally do various cuts and then you get friends over to look at it with you and just get feedback, because it's important to get objective feedback from others, because as the filmmaker, you can get too close to the story. And you get too attached to every little bit, right?
It's your baby, so you like all.
Yeah, exactly. So you like it all. And it's, I will say sometimes like having to cut out some of my darlings has been quite painful.
Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, what I always have to remind myself, it's not about me. It's about the experience that you're giving the audience when you're making a film. So it's about crafting a film in a way that it's emotionally compelling journey for an audience to watch. So it's always important to make sure that your lead character is likable, so that way the audience is on their side, wanting them to survive through what they're going through and come out on top. And then are there enough interesting events along the way that happen to that character, and is the way that that character deals with those events, does it feel authentic to who you set them up to be? And is there enough there to keep the audience engaged and on the edge of the seats throughout the character's journey?
Were you ever actor yourself?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I started in the business. I went to drama school. I went to the drama studio in England, and I trained as an actress. And I actually did fairly well for a while. I used to work pretty consistently, and then I kind of fell into producing by accident, and I found I really loved that, because I'm not good at sitting waiting for the phone to ring. I'm a very hyperactive person that likes to be doing and creating. And in a way, developing scripts and finding stories, that was what I loved, and developing characters, that's what I loved as an actress.
You were in charge.
Yeah, and I now do that as a writer director, and I'm just not. I'm now not really in front of the camera anymore, but happily behind it.
Very good. So, should we talk about Artists for Change? And I have a website here. I'll show you. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization which you founded?
Sure. Artists for Change is a non-profit that I founded to create media to raise awareness for key social issues.
Is this the one?
Actually, that's you're showing the Rough Diamond production site. Rough Diamond is my production company.
Oh, okay.
You can see from that with Rough Diamond, we've made Two Jacks, which is a lovely art house film with Danny Houston and Sienna Miller. We made Stander with Thomas Jane and Deborah Unger. Rough Diamond has also supported some of the social impact films that we made. We made a horror film called The Unwilling. We've made comedies, all types of films. You can look at it all at roughdiamondproductions.net. Over my years in the business, I'm grateful to have racked up a number of credits, and have had a lot of wonderful experiences working with different casts, different directors. Working with William Hurt was a wonderful experience. Danny Houston is a wonderful actor, as is Thomas Jane. At one point, I produced a lot of films down in South Africa, like Pavement, Blast, Stander, Consequence, Sticks. And, I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to travel and learn about all those new cultures and places.
Yeah, I'm looking for artists. Yeah, okay, I found it. Let's see where I'm going.
So then Artists for Change
Yeah.
is a non-profit I founded, and the mission for that non-profit was to use media to raise awareness on key social issues. So Maya was made through Artists for Change, and for social issues, it raises awareness on trafficking and domestic abuse and alcoholism. And one of the things that we're doing with Maya is we do a lot of community and outreach screenings with the film as well. We actually have a community screening tomorrow in Downey, and we did one, tomorrow in Glendale, and we did one last week in Downey, and we had a lot of students who are studying how to deal with domestic abuse attend that screening. We're also working with the Long Beach Trafficking Task Force and organizing a series of screenings and community events with schools and colleges and parent groups. And we are going to be doing a big community screening with the Salvation Army in Long Beach on April the 13th. And also we've done panels with experts many times after screening, so people get the opportunity to ask questions about it. We also did a little short film about teen bullying last year for Artists for Change, and we sponsored a social impact strand of the Rain Dance Film Festival too in London.
Wow, you have accomplished so much. I just clicked on YouTube Movies and TV. So YouTube Movies is just the organization where they display films?
So that looks like that's our distributor's website. So the films also go out. Freestyle Digital Media is the US distributor for Maya.
Yeah, that's a trailer, I guess.
Yeah. So our goal with Maya is to get the film as visible as possible in as many different ways as possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. All of these the lighting is excellent. Yeah. So, do you have any people coming from Los Angeles to attend the screening?
Yes, Gianfranco Rodriguez, who plays Diego, will be at the screening, as will Jason Piet and Sean Michael Acosta and Morris Levy and Suzanne Ordez Curry, and John Jacobs, I believe, maybe Victoria Hill if she's in New York at the time. So a number of our producers will, Antonio Michael, who was a co-producer on the project, I believe he's going to be there, are all coming out to New York. And Michelangelo, our very Sosnowitz, our very talented composer, is based in New York, so he will be there too.
Wow, that's beautiful. So, yeah, it's been so great to meet you and to learn so much from you. And do you have a last word for us?
I would just say, if you want to make a film, make sure that it's something that you're passionate about, because when you're passionate about making it, if you really, really care about the subject matter, and you will find a way. So for me, when I'm passionate about making a project, I've always managed to find a way to get it made. And before I leave you, Ching, I want to also congratulate you on all your wonderful accomplishments, because you've made some amazing accomplishments yourself as a filmmaker. And I think setting up this channel and allowing other people, other filmmakers, to share about their experiences and raise visibility on their films too is fantastic. So we have to all, band together and support each other and keep indie film going.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And tell us where people can find you on social media, I guess, or
They can find me on social media at Julia Verdin, Instagram, or I have a Facebook, Julia Verdin, and through our artist4change.org website, or Rough Diamond Productions. I'm fairly easy to find and always love hearing from fellow filmmakers. For anyone based in LA, we have like monthly awareness events for Artists for Change, and there's always great fun and a good group of people that come. And I think collaborating with fellow filmmakers is always a good thing, and hope to meet as many people as possible when I come out to New York, and you too, Ching, for Nora Armani's wonderful socially relevant film festival this next weekend.
Yeah, it's totally appropriate to suit your theme, which you often make films are related to social issues, right? And socially relevant film festival. Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you on the 16th, and I would love to see the film on a bigger screen, because the experience of watching it on laptop, sometimes people watch on their phone, and it's totally different. And the great thing about cinema is the sound and the big screen, and when you watch, you cannot do anything. You don't want to flip your phone, check your Instagram. That's pretty rude. So I encourage people go to cinema to enjoy the film and the movie and support the film festival, right, Julia?
Yeah. No, it is a whole different experience seeing a film on a big screen. And if you watch Maya on a big screen, it'll be a wonderful experience for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I just want to chime in that I do this live interview, or sometimes I talk about issues by myself at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and check my YouTube channel. And this is 268 episode. And yeah, and if you like this channel, and consider subscribing to it. And yeah, and thank you so much for watching, for listening, and thank you so much, Julia, for being with me. And you shed so much light and so much wisdom, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Chin. Hope to see you all in New York, and remember,
Yeah, see you in New York. Yeah, I also want to
use
see
your voice for good.
Yeah,
social impact
yeah,
filmmaking.
yeah. I also want to see some of your actors. They're so awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna end this, and I know some people are listening, and some people will watch this replay. And thank you so much to be with us. And safe, to be healthy. And bye now.